Considerable progress has been made in the past in supporting the Intro and NELSA project through giving feedback on the voices received from the community and acting as an early warning advisory to the Nile Basin Initiative. There are also tangible achievements in fostering cooperation at the regional level. It will not, therefore, be a mistake if I say that we will be developing plausible futures for the Nile Basin in the next 30 years. For the next 2 days here in Jinja, with full pride, confidence, and season of accomplishment. There is no doubt that we are in particular making a steady progress in supporting the Nile Basin government in promoting Nile cooperation. In this regard, NBD has put forward both initiatives that will bring about a breakthrough in the Nile cooperation process. We have conducted extensive multi-stakeholder dialogues for the last 3 years. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome all of you to Jinja and once again express my sincere conviction in having a fruitful deliberation. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank NBI, Intro and NELSA, and all of you for your continued support towards strengthening stakeholder engagement in Nile cooperation programs and processes. Karibuni, welcome and feel at home. Thank you.
It's a real pleasure to be here and take part in this very exciting workshop that will take an important step in a new agenda for Nile cooperation. So I'm probably a new face to most of you, so let me explain a little bit about my organization, Both Ends, and our relationship so far with the Nile Basin Discourse. So Both Ends is a Dutch environmental organization. Our mission is to empower civil society organizations in the South, as we see them as key players in poverty alleviation and sound environmental governance. So Both Ends is not a donor organization, but we support and take part in a network of practitioners, activists, innovators who aim to ensure that the link between nature and human development is being recognized and that local realities are being linked to national and international policy processes. So we focus on international capital flows, sustainable land use and integrated water resources management. And myself, I coordinate our water program at Both Ends. So as Abby was saying, part of our water program is being implemented as part of the Ecosystem Alliance program. The Ecosystem Alliance is a partnership between the International Union of Nature Conservation, Wetlands International and Both Ends, supported by the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And it unites a network of over 100 civil society organizations working in 16 countries worldwide, 9 of which are in Africa. And the program focuses on the link between sustainable ecosystems on one hand and community livelihoods on the other. So we're really happy to be able to support this workshop. So during our sharing and discussions last week, it was really inspiring to see how people are moving ahead and taking really important steps. And this workshop, in my view, is a very inspirational step as well. In my view, it's new and innovative and exciting because of at least in at least three ways. So one of them, as Abby was saying, it's explicitly proactive. So rather than reacting to developments and reacting to decisions, you take a proactive stance and engage. And this also implies you can take part in the decision-making process in a much earlier phase, which is very crucial for true participation. And it might even prove decisive to come to new insights and new solutions for the challenges that the Nile faces now and in the future. It helps you to move away from current potential tensions. It takes a helicopter view, so it requires more creativity and I think that's a very important step that Meni is taking here to come to a new agenda for cooperation and new futures for the now. So last but definitely not the least, this workshop is the start, as I see it, as in a process that ultimately aims to replace top-down with bottom-up stakeholder engagement in our cooperation. So civil society is obviously takes a very important role in our cooperation. It will lead to increased sustainability due to the fact that local people will have more awareness on what local people want, and they're more able to react to changes as compared to centralized planning. But to engage stakeholders, you need some social ownership to build social cohesion, to motivate people. And this joint visioning exercise, and later on at multiple levels, will be an important tool for this. At the same time, I also think we will need to work on the social cohesion on the ground. So, for example, by improving people's direct livelihood conditions or addressing climate change impacts at the transboundary local level. And that this is something that Annelieke and us are exploring as well. And I'd like to talk to you about as well.
The Nile River is one of the most important rivers of the world and occupies a strategic place in the region in terms of sustaining fauna and flora. This main life link to the easterly and northeasterly nations of Africa is posed with challenges of maintaining supply of enough quantity and good quality water to increasing demands from the countries. The riparian states are developing countries with ambitious development plans aimed at forming backbones to their budding economies. These infrastructure development plans are majorly based on this transboundary water resource. The platform for cooperation provided by the NBI provides a unique opportunity for countries to coordinate their development plans and optimize the development of the shared water resources. The competition for this shared water resource poses a challenge of ensuring fairness and sustainability in the resource development. A scientific approach that improves the understanding of the trends and impacts of the various development scenarios is indeed a step in the right direction. The civil society, through the Nile Basin Discourse, plays a key role in raising awareness, providing feedback, and thereby aligning the contributions of NBI to the needs of the people at the community level. The challenges of the Nile Basin are immense and evolving, and call for concerted efforts for the various stakeholders, as well as innovative approach. The Nile Basin Initiative has a mandate to facilitate cooperative, sustainable water resource management and development of the Nile Basin, and thus follows with keen interest efforts geared towards promoting the sustainable development of the Nile Basin. The water resources are finite and characterized by high variability. There is widespread environmental degradation, with high erosion in the headwater regions of the basin. Efforts to restore the ecosystems by the Nile are infinitesimal compared to the level of degradation. The water quality is equally poor, considering the high pollution rates, especially resulting from the industrialization and urbanization trends. The extreme reliance on wood fuel for energy has contributed to deforestation and degradation of the environment. Population within the basin is estimated to be more than 238 million and growing at a fast rate. Agriculture is a mainstay economic activity and major water consumer in most of the basin countries. This is to share a snapshot of the basin challenges. Honorable guest of honor, dear participants, it is with that in mind that I note the importance of this innovative approach for resolving basin challenges, which seem to be elusive to our traditional interventions. The basin challenges are bigger than our interventions. Therefore, the continued search for solutions require concerted efforts. I applaud anybody for convening this workshop, and it is indeed a timely undertaking and will help us in reflecting on our challenges and visualizing the future.
No doubt, restoration of our ecosystems has become one of the greatest challenges of our time. Water availability in the Nile Basin varies in quantity and quality. The Nile is a very unique basin where there are areas of abundant water resources and areas of scarce water resources. However, the population of 232 million within the basin is putting unprecedented pressure on the natural resources base. The basin population is projected to increase by 312 in 2025. As the population increases drastically and climate change becomes more a reality, water stress seems to increase drastically and climate change becomes more of a reality. Water stress seems to threaten most areas in the basin. This has a major effect on food security. 34% of the basin citizens are currently malnourished. This translates into 140 million of the basin residents. Water security is further threatened by climate variability and climate change. Extreme climate variability has immensely affected the Nile Basin. Floods and droughts have taken a big toll on our economies. Evidence indicates that both the droughts and floods have increased in frequency and severity over the past 30 years. As the time goes on, but even the areas of the abundance in water resources no longer seem to exist. With the increasing population, climate change and the drive for socio-economic development, unprecedented pressure is being exerted on the water resources. Water security has become an important factor for all Nile Basin countries. To ensure water security for all, we need to think outside the boxes and create new forms of water. Immense groundwater resources have just been discovered in a very dry region in Kenya. The Turkana residents had no hope of drinking water from a tap, but now it is essential for water availability without causing harm to our fellow riparian states and our shared ecosystems. Coming together to critically think of how our futures and the futures of our next generation will unfold is the start of this important journey. Future thinking is not a choice, it is a necessity. The challenges the Nile Basin is facing are too complex for any individual government to tackle alone. We need NBI, ENTRO, NELSAP, NBD, the riparian states, non-government organizations, the private sector, and development partners to work together towards water resources management with a strong focus on poverty eradication and the restoration of our ecosystem services. Our ecosystems and our future generation may not have a voice, but we can create this voice by taking the time to creatively think about the future. Our reflection of the future helps us create this voice and space.
The comment is that I want Nile Basin discourse to shine in the Nile Valley. How do they shine? To stop environmental degradation, raise awareness about environmental problems, and find solutions. Because environmental degradation affects water security. So if we don't think critically, the environment will affect these problems. So we must think and act about the future.
In all other groups, you don't have such an arrangement. So it's something which is unique, and we are trying to learn and be sure that in some few months, Togo and Meni will do better than you are. But still, my question is, do you have some avenues whereby you share this experience that you are having here with other basins or other river authorities in Africa?
In terms of institutionalization, and this may also point to something distinctive about the Nile Basin Initiative. The NBI had a specific shared vision project, confidence building and stakeholder involvement. So that project was launched specifically. Initially it was thought to be a kind of communication project, but then it was realized that this cannot just be communication, because communication, not even involving communication. It was initially thought of unidirectional, but the governments thought through it and said, no, we have to have it, confidence building and stakeholder involvement, and the two go together. As the project was phased out in 2010, its functions were streamlined in the 3 NBI centers.
You as an MP and a representative of Jinja, what is your opinion about what security issues are there, plans for the future in Jinja? What's the political agenda at this moment?
But of course this goes back actually to will. If there is no will, then things will not happen. We have raised these things over and over again, that actually they have become budgetary issues, that NEMA cannot actually even enforce. It is an institution when this pollution is taking place. And it's not because they don't know where the pollution is taking place, but of course they know. That's why I'm saying that, you know, we must try to strike a balance between the alleged investment in terms of return of investment and the environment.
I'm from Tanzania, and we have many cases where polluters don't pay. I'll give a small example with gold mining in Mara region. And it is very interesting. You can see the direct pollution of the waters in one of the streams. And yet, a team of parliamentarians who were supposed to go and make on-the-spot assessment is very funny. The same person or company which is supposed to be investigated gives these guys, the MPs, the team, transport, helicopter, or whatever, to the site. They accommodate them in a hotel, and then, I mean, it's so funny. The same people who are supposed to be at the forefront of fighting to make sure that the polluter pays, they become part of the polluter. So I was wondering, and I would like to hear from Uganda or from around anywhere in Uganda, where has the polluter really been taken to court and put to justice so that others can learn? In many cases, very little. These guys, because they have got the financial muscle, they, you know, corrupt the system. And corruption is open, I think, in East Africa. It's almost everywhere. It's something that we speak openly. So they corrupt the system, and then the system collapses. And you find the poor farmers, the poor villagers suffering. Go to Mara, North Mara, where you have these gold mines. It has affected the people to the extent that, I mean, you can't believe it. And the polluter doesn't pay. The polluter continues to pollute, and the same people who are supposed to be the, you know, law enforcers become part of the polluters. In Uganda, Honorable MP, what is the situation?
How far have you been supported by Nile Basin governments in this effort? I'm sure this would be in the introduction tomorrow. Would need to know how much there has been support and how much there has been achievement in that regard, and how much Nile Basin discourse would be able to influence the regional process of cooperation, including negotiations.
I think the biggest challenge for the NBI and NBD in our work in promoting air cooperation was the year 2012, when I think both our funds were coming to an end, and we were thinking we are doing very good work and it has to continue. And I remember that the donors actually had a meeting with NBI and were not there. And NBI was asked, what would you say about NBD? Should we continue financing NBD? And now the report we got from the donors was they said we believe in stakeholder engagement. We believe that even though the money is little, we believe that you must allocate money for stakeholder engagement and working with civil society. So we are ready to even sacrifice the little money that is there to ensure that civil society and stakeholders are engaged in our processes because we want to be more open. And I found that to be a very big test because many people would not even want civil society to be given the tools that they need to be able to deliver. So that when you say how far do we go in terms of cooperation, I would say that even in closed doors when NBD is not there, they actually speak well of us to ensure that we have institutional funding. But we always ensure that even when we get financing, we don't get it from the government, but we get it from an independent source because we are supposed to remain independent. So we don't receive any financing from NBI, neither does NBI receive any financing from NBD. But to ensure that we are independent, because along this journey, there are times that we would need to put our stand, which will not be definitely the same as NBI. But we would make our position clear, and they would make their position clear, and we see how to address this.
Supposing you had an opportunity of giving a statement or commitment to the piece of the Nile for the next 30 years, what would you say? I
would actually maintain the polluter pays principle, that whoever tries to degrade the environment must take the responsibility to remedy the harm he or she has caused on the environment. And this is in tandem with what Andrew had stated, that when we don't mind about the degradation, we can talk very many words, but it has to come back to one principle, the polluter pays principle. But having said that, as I was responding to both questions, it is just one principle, the polluter pays principle. Because we may not necessarily fight the alleged investment which is being talked about, but whoever damages the environment must have the capacity to remedy what he has done. And when you look in some of the industry like Uganda leather, they are trying to treat their discharge before even it goes into.
So, it's easier.